Art Attack magazine. More fantastic ideas for you every month.
Remember, Art Attack Most Wanted and Crazy Cartoons Dazzling Drawings are also available to collect on video. Discover the magic of the story of Christmas. Out now on video.
Hello there, and welcome to the brand new Art Attack party video. Now, in the next hour or so, I'm going to show you some great ideas, whether you're holding a party or going to one, or whether you're sending a card or even decorating your house. There's also some great ideas for making your own presents and clever ways of wrapping them up. And I've even got some unique ideas for celebrating Christmas. So let's start at the beginning with ways to decorate your house that'll really impress your friends and some special ideas for making parties really sparkle. If you're having a party and you really want to liven it up, what you need are some wild party guests. And here they are. Sneakerweed, wallflower, and look at that wild party animal over there. Wild party decorations. Come and have a look at this. Take 2 sheets of newspaper. Now, the large newspapers are best for this, and just lay one on top of the other, and just line them up like that, and then it's just a case of drawing your party decorations head right across the newspaper. Now, don't draw anything too fiddly, make it nice and simple, big and bold. Now, I'm doing a sneakerweed, so we've got nice big floppy petals here. You could do anything you like. You could do a sneakerweed, you could do a party animal, an animal's head, or a spider or something. And when you've done that, carefully hold the 2 pieces together and then cut them out so that you have 2 flower shapes, like that. And then just place them down and very carefully staple all the way around the edge. Now, if you haven't got a stapler, you could always tape the edges, but it does work best if you staple this. So try and borrow one if you haven't got one. Or you may have one at school or something. And when you get to one of these in bits where the 2 petals touch each other, or where they join in like that, just staple across, because this is sometimes a weak point, and you can just strengthen it up with a staple. And continue all the way round, obviously being careful when you use the staplers because they can be sharp in your fingers. Go all the way round, but leave a gap that's big enough to get your hand in. There it is, because we're going to stuff it. We're going to stuff it with strips of newspaper. Just tear up strips of newspaper and shove them in. Now, you have to be quite careful with this, otherwise you rip the newspaper bag. There it is, just stuff them in. It's a good idea to stuff the petals first. In it goes. And don't stuff it too much, otherwise it'll burst. The idea is to create a nice, fluffy pillow. And when you've done that, staple up the opening, and it's ready for painting. Now, I've painted this one a nice bright yellow. There it is, a nice bright flower yellow. And what about an orange face on the other side? And you can use poster or acrylic paint for this, but I find if you use acrylic paint, it dries with a nice skin and it strengthens the job up. And now put detail on the face. OK, I'm using a permanent marker for this. So I think first we'll do the eyes. There's the eyebrow. And an eye in there, like that. Now, you might just have to scrunch your pillow down a bit, because it does stand up in places. There it is, round you go. Just make it nice and bold, nothing fancy. And just do the eye in the middle there, like that. And then the other eye, I'm going to do him winking, like this. One there, and one there, and one there. And then a nice big wide mouth, I think. And just make it as crazy as you can. There it goes, right across, like that. And then maybe put a bit of paint on as well. Nice bright red paint here for his nose. Just give him a silly conch right in the middle there. And what about 2 rosy red cheeks? One there and one there. And make it really cheeky. Just put in a great big tongue down here. There we are. Oh. You might have to take some time over this because it's quite hard drawing on the paper crinkles. But you could always just neaten it up afterwards with some permanent marker. And that's exactly what I've done here. Just gone over it with permanent marker. And I've even put some white on the eyes, white highlight, and a white highlight on the nose. And then just thread some string through one of the top petals to hang it up. And then for the streamer, or in the sneakerweed's case, the stem, I've just cut a long strip of crepe paper. Now, it has to be big enough to go from the ceiling to the ground, and then just tape it, or tack it, or even staple it onto the back of your decoration. And there it is. And when it's party time, just hang it up. Now, it's a good idea to hang it up as high as you can get it. If you can hang it from the ceiling, it looks really effective, dangling down. But be careful if you're hanging it high. Better still, get someone tall to do it for you. And then just tuck the stem into my trainer there, because after all, it is a sneaker weed. And there's lots of different designs you could do. What about doing this sort of wild party animal? It's like a spider, really, isn't it? And there's streamers there. Those streamers I've done using bin liners, black bin liners. And what about a ghost? Maybe if you're having a ghost party or a Halloween party, and again, the streamers are white bin liners. Or maybe you're not having a party at all. Well, no problems. You could still do yourself a bed bug. Look at him, and just have him hanging around your bedroom. Try it yourself. Wild party decorations. Do you know what? I was out shopping the other day for some Christmas presents and I couldn't believe the price of Christmas wrapping up paper. So I've made my own. Try this. Take a black bin liner and just cut the bottom off it, and then carefully insert your scissors along the edge and cut the side open. And when you open it out, you have a rather large sheet of shiny Christmas wrapping up paper. And then you can, of course, cut it to any size you want, depending on what size your presents are. Now, just take a look at that. I know what you're thinking. It's a little bit dull for Christmas, so you can brighten it up, decorate it yourself using acrylic paint. Now, you can use ordinary poster paint, but you will have to mix it with a bit of PVA glue to make it stick to the bin liner. And just take a stiff brush, or you can use an old toothbrush, dip it into your paint, and then using the spatter technique, take an old piece of cardboard and just flick little blobs of paint onto your bin liner. And look at that. I always think this should be called the splatter technique. There it is. And just cover the whole of your bin liner in these little blobs like that. And you can use different colours. I like using red and green. Good Christmassy colours, red and green. In fact, it's everywhere, isn't it, really? And there we are, flicking more paint on, more acrylic paint. And when the acrylic paint dries, it sticks to the bin liner. In fact, it's brilliant acrylic paint. It'll stick to almost anything. And the idea is to cover the whole of your bin liner in a nice thick layer of paint, blobs everywhere, and when it's finished, it should look something like that. Look at that, and I think that's a brilliant sheet of Christmas wrapping up paper. And what does it look like on the present? Look at that. I think that looks brilliant. And here's one I've done in gold and silver paint. Look at that. That's fabulous. That's really classy, isn't it? And if you haven't got any paint, try this. A coloured plastic bag. And again, you can cut it to any shape for your prezi, any shape you like. And what does it look like on the present? Well, I think that looks very posh and shiny. It looks very expensive, doesn't it? Especially when you finish it off with 4 pedal bin liners, just these flimsy white ones. Just tear them off a roll. Now, obviously, ask if you can take these before you actually tear them off. And just take about 4 of them, 3 or 4 should do it. And just wrap them around your present like that. put presents in the middle and just scrunch the whole thing together. Bend it one way, like that, and then round the back. And then just tie a bow on the top and pull the ends of your bow out to fluff it up a little bit. And look at that. I think that looks fantastic. Of course, the big test is, what do they look like under the tree? Well, there's loads of different coloured plastic bags, different types, different sizes, and different shapes, and you can turn them all into your own Christmas wrapping up paper. Try it yourself, some very expensive looking homemade Christmas wrapping up paper. Are you fed up with the same old run-of-the-mill Christmas decorations? You know what you need? Frosty streamers. Take an A3 size piece of paper and fold it in half once, and then fold it in half twice, and then fold it in half 3 times. So that's A3 folded in 3. And then place it so that the folded edge is at the bottom, like that, and then just draw a zigzag explosion right across your paper, and give it about 7 or 8 points like that. That'll do, I think. And then draw another little one just on the inside of that one, like that. But whatever you do, don't let those 2 zigzag lines touch. And then the idea is to cut this area out and this top area over there, and you'll have something that looks like that. And then open it out, and look at this. You have, hey presto, 4 frosty stars. And you can make as many of these as you like. The more you make, the bigger your streamer will be. And when you've got enough for a streamer, say about 20, take one and place it down, and then just dab some glue at the top and at the bottom, and then pop another frosty star on the top. And you notice I'm using 2 different colours here, using blue and white. I think that gives a good cold and frosty effect. And then just dab some glue this time on the sides, one side, on the other side, and then a different colour like that. And keep going, just alternating your colours, and very important, alternating where you put your glue. Top and bottom, and then a star, a different coloured star, and then your glue goes on the side, and then you pop on another star. And just keep going till you've finished all your frosty stars. And each time you just alternate the colour and where you put the glue. Top, bottom, star, side, side, star, and so on. And when you've used up all of your stars, leave it to dry, and then open it out and wait for it. Look at that. There you have this fantastic frosty streamer. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. Better than anything you could buy in the shops, eh? Now that was made using 20 frosty stars. What about this one? This was made using 40 frosty stars, and look at the length of that. Wow, you could hang that up absolutely anywhere. And if you haven't got a 3 size piece of paper, you could use smaller paper, and you get smaller stars and a thinner streamer. But I think that looks equally as good. And you can use any type of paper you like. What about using coloured sugar paper, or maybe even coloured crepe paper? Plenty of that around this time of year. You could even use newspaper or magazines. And what about even those odd scraps of Christmas wrapping up paper? Okay, there are ways to make your home or even your school look great for a party. But what about making yourself look great? After all, what's a party for unless it's a chance to get dressed up? Well, here are some wonderful ways to get noticed anywhere you go. Great masks from Bedgebury School using tissue paper and PVA glue mixed with a little bit of water. Now, how do you get the shape of the face, I hear you ask? Try a balloon. Mind you, you will notice that a balloon has got a smooth surface, and your face has got all these bobbles on it, like your eyebrows, your nose, your mouth, and your chin. Well, you can make these using plasticine or modelling clay. Now, it's just a case of sticking these with sticky tape onto your balloon, so you get something that looks like that. And then you get an old shoebox and you press your balloon into the shoebox so it holds it nice and firmly. Then you get some lengths of tissue paper, some strips, and you just literally slop on some PVA glue mixed with water. Now the idea is to get it onto the face area of the balloon. And again, going over all the modelling clay that you've used. Get another strip there, put some on there. That's it. Keep going right over the face, and it doesn't matter if it isn't neat. And again, it doesn't matter about these tassely bits hanging over the edge, because it all adds to the mask effect. Keep going till you've completely covered the face, and then do it another 4 times. So that's 5 times altogether, and you'll find that when it's dry, if you leave it overnight, it will look something like that. Now, as you can see, the PVA goes nice and shiny, and if I tap it there, you can see that it's hard. Then, the good bit. I really enjoy doing this. Close your eyes. You burst the balloon, and you take out the balloon and all this modelling clay from inside, and you're left with this. There it is, your very own tissue paper mask. I think that looks brilliant. Look at that. Of course, you can decorate them. Do it any way you want. You could try the stripy effect, or you could even put on some glitter and some ribbon, and you could go the whole hog and try some sequins, glitter and ribbon all on one mask. Well, look what I've discovered. You take one of these thin carrier bags, the type that you get at a supermarket checkout, and if you scrunch it up into a sausage shape, a thin shape like that, and then fold it round onto your fist into a loop, and then take some sticky tape just to hold onto it. Wrap the sticky tape around. It's a bit tricky, but persevere. Doesn't matter that that bit's sticking out. And then if you take some of this brown paper parcel tape and you soak it in water. Now, you can lick it if you want to, but I think it tastes foul. There it is, nice and wet. Doesn't matter if you over-soak it. And then you start to wrap it around your loop. There it is, just trapping in the end bits there, threading it around. Can be quite tricky to do. It's lots of fun to do. Very messy as well. It's a good idea to do it on some newspaper. Just keep threading it around there, pulling it nice and tightly. When you've run out of paper, just tear yourself another strip off and keep going till you've covered the whole loop in 2 or 3 layers. When you've done that, leave it to one side to dry, and the amazing thing is, when it's dry, it goes absolutely rock solid. Then you can put a design on it. Now, I'm going to use some acrylic paint here. It's best to use acrylic paint. You get some acrylic paint maybe from school in the squidgy bottles. I'm just going to slush it on to show you how it works there. Now, you don't have to use paint. You can use some of this coloured paper. I'm just sticking it on with a bit of glue there. You can use both if you like. Now, you know, I never throw away any paper that I get on presents because it's always got this fabulous shiny quality. It doesn't matter if it's covered in glue at this stage. So what you do is just press it all down there. Leave it to one side to completely dry. Now, when it's completely dry, and that's very important, you then just slosh on a load of PVA glue. Again, the school glue. Now, I keep going on about this stuff, you know, but I think it's brilliant. It looks very messy at this stage. Don't worry, because when you've completed your design, let it dry, covered it in PVA glue. If you leave that to dry overnight, it comes out looking like that. And the PVA glue has dried hard with a real shiny finish on. And look at that, a fabulous piece of designer jewellery. It's a bangle that you can put on your wrist. And if you crunch your paper into different shapes and you wrap the paper tape around that, you can create all these pieces of jewellery. And they were all done with less than £1 worth of brown paper parcel tape that I bought from a stationery shop. And you can try other things. Fantastic do-it-yourself t-shirt designs there using fabric paint. Now, I've been doing a spot of my own t-shirt design research to see if there's any alternative to using those specialist fabric paints. And this is what I came up with. Here's a fantastic design that I did using red poster paint. Unfortunately, it all came out in the wash, so poster paint's no good. This was a little bit better, ordinary felt tip pen, but again, the problem was it faded and ran in the wash. This was much better here. Nail varnish using Mum's leftovers. Went on well and survived the wash. The only problem with nail varnish is you can't get many different colours. Unlike acrylic paint, you can get lots of colours, goes on brilliantly and survives the wash. But obviously you don't boil wash any of these. And it was acrylic paint that I used to design my Art Attack t-shirts. And let's face it, they've had a few washes in their time. But the surprise result were these permanent markers and gold pen. And if you stick some cardboard inside the t-shirt to stretch it before you do it, it's easier to actually draw onto the cotton. And it also protects the back of the t-shirt and stops the ink going through. And the technique here is just to do lightly flicked lines like that. Not too much ink on, otherwise it will smear. Another good tip is to just draw your design in pencil before you apply the permanent marker. And if you make a mistake, you can just rub it out before committing to the dreaded permanent marker. Now, I actually think they're great things, these, because they survive the wash. Now, obviously, I'll say it again, don't put it on too hot a wash. Nice, gentle wash. And you may find that your t-shirt will fade over time, but then it's just simply a case of going over the original lines with your pens again. And there it is. Just do a fancy bit of design up the top there. And that's it, finished. So there it is. Permanent markers and gold pen. Definitely get my thumbs up for jazzing up your old t-shirts. Do you ever feel really lazy when you know you've got to send someone a card? Do you just pop round to the corner shop and buy one? Well, don't even bother doing that, because you can make a card yourself that'll really stand out amongst all the others sitting on the mantelpiece. And you know me, I'm never one to miss the chance for a great art attack. Or to save some money. Draw a simple square with a pen. Doesn't need to be accurate, just a rough square. And take a pencil and draw another square to the right of your first one and slightly higher. Doesn't matter if they overlap. Join the corners, and there you have a 3D cube. This also works for a circle. It's not easy to draw a circle freehand. There we go. Back to the beginning. Not bad. And then this time I'm going to go a bit to the left and slightly down on my original circle. There it is. And again, join the top, join the bottom, sides, and there you have a 3D cylinder. Now, the truth is, this works for almost any shape, and it's a great technique to use when drawing 3D block lettering. Watch this. I'm going to draw a T. There's the top of the T. It's just a block T. Take a T there. And with a pencil, I'm going to go slightly to the right, slightly higher, and again, overlapping. Doesn't have to overlap, can be a bit further away. And I'm going to join these corners, bottom corners there, insides there, and the bottom here. And there it is, a block T. Now, when you've got it to this stage, you can rub out all of the pencil lines once you've actually gone over the outside lines in pen. There it is. Put the outside lines in. You don't have to rub out the lines, you can always just colour over them. And this this works better if you've got a darker pen. I'm going to use this lighter orange colour just so you can see the original lines in there. Let's see what we've done. And for the side and the top edge, choose a different colour. Again, if you use a darker colour, it makes it look like shadow on the side of your letter. There it is. A block letter. Of course, there is another way that you can do block lettering. Using one of these, I call this my 2-in-1 pen. What I've done is I've sellotaped a pencil and a pen together, and you just draw with the both of them, making sure both tips are touching the paper at the same time. So here we go. Because it's most important that the pen touches the paper. So I'm actually drawing with the pen. The pencil is drawing itself. There it is. And go over the pencil lines with another pen. Just join up these edges. Down there, across there, on the bottom there. And this edge. As you can just see the top of the T along there. So join that up. And there it is. And when you've done all the outside lines, just colour it in however you like. 3D lettering. It looks brilliant when you put words together for posters. And brilliant when you do it on greetings cards. Whatever you do, don't throw away your old comics. Come and have a look at this. Take an envelope and carefully tear apart the glued joints. Open it out and then mark along the edges where the glue was. Just put that to one side. Bring in a coloured double-page spread from your favourite comic. Put the envelope back on top and then just carefully use it as a pattern to draw around the edge onto your comic. It doesn't matter which side of the comic you draw on, but we'll be using the coloured side. Although you can use black and white side. In fact, you could do this on newspaper, wallpaper, any type of paper. There it is, and you have that pattern. Cut that out, and you will have something that looks like that. Then fold it back again, like the original envelope, same places, down that side, and that flap there, and then mark with an X on the same lines as those glued edges on the original envelope, and then put some glue on those edges. The reason I've marked them is so we know which ones to put glue on. Fold them over, stick them down, and there you have a multicoloured comic strip envelope. Looks brilliant, doesn't it? And let's face it, if that came through your letterbox, it'd certainly give your eyeballs a shock. But I haven't finished yet. You can also make some great greetings cards to go inside the envelopes. Make a card out of thin card or thick paper and make it so it's the right size to go inside the envelope. And on the front, stick a picture from your comic, preferably a big picture so it covers almost the whole of the front of your card. And then take a piece of paper and draw on it 2 speech bubbles or balloons. Just draw them roughly because you're going to cut them out so you have a shape that looks something like that. And put a dab of glue on the back. And again, you can do it more carefully than I am. I'm just doing it quickly to show you. And just stick it on the front of your card with a speech bubble coming out of the character's mouth. And then you can take a black felt tip pen and just carefully go around the edges of your speech bubble. Just down the side there, so it looks like it's coming out your character's mouth. And just to give it a professional finish, go around the outside of your card. You can use a ruler. It doesn't matter if the lines aren't that straight, because they're not usually that straight in comics. They're usually zany and rather wacky. And then use the speech bubble to write the message on the front of your card and the address on the front of your envelope. And there you have a multicoloured comic strip card and matching envelope. There's a good art attack, but you need to watch this very carefully. Take a sheet of drawing paper and fold it in half one way, and then in half again the other way, just matching up the edges and creasing them like that. So you have a sort of greeting card. And then on the inside, draw a line down the middle just to remind you which is the inside of the card, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. Then open the card out and fold it again in half, keeping that inside line still on the inside. There it goes, in half again. So that inside line is somewhere in that fold. And then mark a point halfway along that line, which is roughly there, doesn't have to be spot on, and then draw a line that goes a quarter of a way into the card, like that, and then snip a slot in it with some scissors, like that. And then fold back that flap to there, and the opposite flap to there, and then fold them both back to the middle again, and then turn it over and do the same on the other side. Fold that back to there, that back to there, and creasing it well on every fold, and put the two of them back into the middle again. And then start the whole thing from the beginning. Remake your card with the inside line on the inside, so you then have something that looks like that. You've got your line with those two flaps in the middle. And then the tricky bit. Stick your finger inside the card and just try to poke your finger up through those two flaps, like that, and then just pull them back on themselves. And as you're pulling the flaps back, the card will start to close itself, and then trap the flaps in with your hand, close the card on them, and press really hard like that to crease those flaps. And you then have something that looks like that. And then just draw a picture of a face on the inside using that slot as the mouth. So there we go. See if you can guess what it is I'm drawing. Yeah, it's a bit obvious, isn't it? It's the old wide-mouthed frog. Just drawing it very roughly to start with, because you can paint it up neatly. You can rub out that line, and when you've done that, you will have something that looks like that. Look at that. A novelty greeting card. And let's face it, there's lots of different designs you could try. How about designing a Halloween card? Or a birthday card that sings at you? I'm not going to sing that. Are you fed up with seeing the same old Christmas cards in the shops? Then send someone a surprise Christmas card. And what's in it? It's a surprise. Just take a piece of thin card or thick paper and cut it so that its length is 3 times its width, and then divide it into 3 equal sections and draw lines across it like that, and then score across the lines. Now, the best way to score is to take a pair of scissors, keep them closed, and then tape them closed like that, just for safety. Put some sticky tape around them, keep them firmly closed, and then take a ruler, lay it on your line like that, and then just score down the line along the ruler's edge, just pressing firmly into your card. And do the other one in exactly the same way, like that. And your scissors are safely taped closed. And then put them to one side and fold this section into the middle, like that. Fold it into place. And then this section into the middle as well, and just press that into place, so that you have those 2 sections folded on top of each other. And then you need to divide those sections in half. Now, you can measure it accurately. I'm just going to guess it here. It does have to be accurate, and draw a line down the middle of each of those sections, like that, or down the middle of each of those flaps it is really, isn't it? And then score down those lines again with the scissors. just pressing firmly into the card and holding your ruler in position like that. It just makes folding so much easier. And then fold these two flaps back on themselves, there like that, and then this one in exactly the same way, like that. So you end up with something that looks like that. Look at that, those two flaps folded back on themselves, and you have that funny shape then. And the idea is to draw your Christmas design across those two flaps. Now, as this is the Art Attack Christmas cracker, I'm going to draw a Christmas cracker. And you can do it very roughly in pencil to start with, and you can make your alterations and corrections in pen. I'm just doing it very rough, because we are going to paint it up in a minute. Just drawing a rough cracker shape, and just make sure that the shape is the same, or your design is the same on either side. Just put a couple of lines in there and bands around the cracker. And then you can paint it using poster paint or acrylic paint. I've just got some ordinary poster paint here, ready-mix poster paint, and just slopping it on here to show you. And again, you can do it more neatly. Just put the red bits on the frills, bits that you pull the cracker, and do the whole thing, decorate your whole cracker and neaten it up, and then cut this section out, and this section, and this section, and this section. And when you've cut those 4 sections out and you've decorated it on the front, it looks something like that. And look at that, I've painted that cracker up nice and neatly, and I've gone around the edges in black permanent marker. And I've even put some gold snowflakes on this back bit just to neaten it up and make it look nice and fancy for Christmas. And then open it out like that and continue your Christmas design in the middle. So there's a bit more of my cracker. Now that's where it's snapped, where it's been broken. And again, there like that. And then do a nice big explosion for me cracker. There like that. And then again, here. And I'm doing the whole thing in pencil, as you notice, just so I can alter it if I make a mistake. And then just write your Christmas message in there. Have a cracking, you have the joke, Christmas. And again, just doing it in rough, because I'm going to paint it and decorate the whole thing. And when you've decorated it and done it all neatly, you'll have something that looks like this on the outside, and again, with the poster paint on the inside. Look at that. Have a cracking Christmas. So when you send it to someone, they open it like that, and they get the surprise of their life. And there's loads of different Christmas designs you could try. How about something like this? Look at that. Little Christmas angel singing away. You open it up, and there's the whole choir in there saying Happy Christmas. Well, what about this? This is my favourite, this one. Look at this. You've got Rudolph there. Again, it's the same on either side. And you pull his antlers, and there's all those lovely prezzies inside. Merry Christmas. All right, come on, let's admit it. I'll bet that your heart skips a beat at the thought of opening presents. You know, tearing through all that brightly coloured paper? Yeah, of course it does. We all feel like that. But you know what I think? If you're going to receive great presents, it's only fair to give great presents. And it just so happens I've got a few ideas that might just help you out. Take a look at this. The Mona Lisa. One of the world's most famous pieces of Italian art, you know. Do you know what I like best about this? The frame. That's Italian too. Believe it or not, it's made out of pasta. Come and have a look at this. Take the picture that you want to frame and just draw around it onto some cardboard. Now, the best cardboard for this is cardboard box cardboard. It doesn't have to be neat, just go around the edge of your picture, like that, so you have something that looks like that. And take a pasta shape. Now, there are lots of different types of pasta that you can get from the supermarket, and I'm going to take one of these bow shapes here, and just put it on your line, and mark the edge of the pasta. So you're sort of measuring the width of the pasta, and go all the way around the 4 lines, just making 2 dots, like that, and then join those points up. go all the way around till you have a frame shape. And cut that out. Now, if you have difficulty cutting cardboard, just wet the lines with a little bit of water and it makes it easier to cut. And when you cut it out, you have something that looks like that. Look at that, a frame shape. And take a piece of paper and cut it so that it fits exactly on the back of your frame shape. But I'm not going to put it on just yet, just leave it to one side. And the next thing to do is take some PVA glue. This is my favourite glue, this is great stuff. It's the school glue, the white school glue that you get in those big squidgy bottles, and just slop it onto your cardboard shape nice and thickly. Look at that. I'm just going to do one side just to show you what I'm doing. Make the glue really thick. I'm just loading it up there. That's it, a bit more on this edge. You can go all the way around your cardboard. And then take one of your pasta shapes and just carefully press it into position in the glue. And then another one, and line that up underneath the first one. And then just keep going all the way around your cardboard frame, pressing the pasta shapes, one underneath the other, into the glue. When you've gone all the way around, leave it to dry overnight, and next morning you will have something that looks like that. Look at that. Your frame is beginning to take shape. And then you can paint it. Paint it any colour you like if you use poster paint or even acrylic paint. And when you've painted it, if you leave it to dry, you can slop on a layer of PVA glue afterwards and it gives it that great shiny effect. Then just take your backing paper and your original picture, and I'm just going to put a line of glue on the top of your picture. This is the best way to frame a picture, just a line of glue along the top there, so that you don't have to cover the whole of the back of the picture. Because if you want to reframe it, you can always take it out then. That's it, press that on, and then some glue all the way around the edge of the backing paper. Again, I'm just doing this really quickly to show you, but you can take some time and care over it. That's it. And then it's simply a case of pressing your pasta frame into place. There it is, just line it up, and there you have a pasta framed picture. And there are loads of different types of pasta you can use, and paint them any colour you like. Do them any size you like, and make them as fancy as you like. Try it yourself. Pasta frame. Hey, look at these fantastic old books I've found. Look at this. 100 years old, 150 years old. And what about this? I made it yesterday using one of these boring old writing books. Come and have a look at this. Take a book, any book you like. It can be one of those floppy exercise books, or it can even be a hardback writing book. And take some strips of loo roll and just lay them on top of your book, like that. And then mix some PVA glue, 2 parts glue to 1 part water, and slop the glue onto your book and onto the loo roll. Just sticking the loo roll down on top of the book as you go. And you see what happens here? The loo roll soaks up all the glue and sticks it to the book. I'll just do a couple of strips here to show you, but you should cover the whole of the front of your book and the back of your book. It's also a good idea to do the inside of the book. I'll show you why in a minute. There it is. Now, the idea is to get it as flat as possible. I'll just do those 2 to show you. It doesn't matter if you've still got some crinkles in it, because that all adds to the old effect. Then when you've covered your book, leave it to dry overnight, and you should have something that looks like that. And the reason I asked you to do the inside cover as well is because it stops it warping outwards as the book is drying. And then your book is ready to do your design. Now, you can do any design you like. I'll show you a couple in a minute, but I'm going to design an old, ancient diary. Now, a lot of those old books had sort of very ornate hinges on them, so I'm just going to block that in very roughly to start with. One there, maybe one there, like that. You don't have to be neat at this stage. And if it's my diary, then I'm going to put my initial on the middle, like that. And a lot of those old books had sort of metal tips to protect them at the corners with rivets in. So let's put those in, just there. And if this is going to be a personal diary, then I'm going to put a lock on it. So let's put a lock on there, like that, with a keyhole. And when your design is done, take some more strips of loo paper or tissue paper, and this time dip them in the PVA mixture with your fingers, squeeze out the excess like that. Look at that, it's a bit messy, so it's a good idea to put some newspaper down, and just use this pulp to build up your design into a 3D relief, just pressing it onto your book with your fingers like that and moulding it as you go. And build up the whole of your drawn design and leave that to dry overnight, and when it's dry you'll have something that looks just like that. Look at that. And the PVA glue and toilet roll has gone all hard and stiff on the front of your book. And then paint your design. Now you can paint it using poster paint or acrylic paint, but look what I've discovered. This stuff, boot polish. If you just rub on some ordinary boot polish onto the front of your book, just rubbing it in to all the cracks and creases like that. Look at that, getting all over my fingers and everything there. And it just goes into all those creases and gives this great sort of old leather effect. And this is just ordinary brown tan shoe polish. You can get it from any shoe shop. And go over the whole of your book. And when you've covered your book, paint the metal bits, and you can paint them white or silver, or better still, use one of these things, a gold and silver pen. And that will actually go over, or just about anything really. It'll even go over the boot polish there that spilled onto that edge. There it is. Just going over all my metal bits. Again, I'll just do that lock there to show you. And when you've done the whole of your design, you can always go round it in permanent marker to make it more bold, and do a bit inside the lock to make it dark, and you'll have something that looks just like that. Look at that. There it is. Your own ancient personal diary. And there's lots of different designs you could try. Try something bold and colourful. Or what about a design based on your own school uniform? Or even a design for your sketch pad. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to introduce you to 15 good friends of mine. There they are. Come and have a look at this. Have you ever used any of this stuff? It's that clay that hardens by itself, and you can get it from most good toy shops or craft stores. And the great thing is you don't need to put it into an oven to harden it. Just tear a clump of it off and roll it in the palm of your hand into a ball, and just keep rolling it till you get it nice and smooth. You get all the impurities out. And when it's smooth, just hold it about 20 centimetres above a flat surface and let it drop gently. And it just flattens the bottom. Then take a pen or pencil and just tweak a little hole in the centre at the top, and just brush in some water there, just into the hole, just to dampen it. And then just take another pinch of your clay and roll that, not much, it is, into a sausage, like that. And then just place it into the hole in the centre, and the water sort of binds it and acts as a glue. And take your pen and again tweak another hole in the top to one side of the sausage, and another hole on the other side, not too close together. And then let me just turn it round so I can see what I'm doing. Yes, you've guessed it. Just underneath the sausage or the nose, just scratch in a mouth. And there he is, one of my very best friends. And what type of friend is he? Yeah, he's a pen friend. Just stick my pen in about 3 centimetres and give it a little twiddle to open the hole a bit. Take your pen out and then leave it to dry overnight. And I'll just say it again, you don't need to put it into an oven because it will harden by itself. The next morning, it will have gone rock solid. And then you can paint it. Now I'm just going to use some poster paint here. You can use acrylic paint. I'll just mix this to a sort of pinky colour. I'm just going to splosh it on here just to show you. I haven't got time to be neat. There it is, just throw it all on. And if you put some poster paint all over it, just cover it, and you leave it to dry. When it's dry, you can give it a coat of this PVA glue. Now, it's just ordinary school glue. It's that white stuff. And when you paint it on, it looks a real mess. It looks all white and creamy. But when it dries, it goes clear and shiny and rock hard. And look at that. There he is, a pen friend who can hold on to your best pen. After all, what are pen friends for? And the great thing about pen friends is you can make as many different types as you like. And why not give them away as presents? In fact, you can make at least 15 pen friends from a £5 block of clay. That's less than 35p for a pen friend. Try it yourself. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you how to save a fortune in pocket money. Take a piece of paper as big as you can get, any colour you like, any type of paper, and with a felt tip pen, draw a big cross down the middle. Now again, your felt tip pen can be any colour, but I like to use red felt tip on white paper. And it doesn't have to be neat, just draw a cross, and then in these top two sections, draw loops that join the middle. So there's one loop there, another loop there. And then in the bottom two sections, draw long, thin triangles that also join the middle. One there and one there. And when you've done that, colour the whole thing in and you'll have something that looks like that. Then take a gold or silver pen and start to decorate it. Now you can do anything you like to decorate it, but I'm just going to draw dots on it just to show you. And just decorate all of the red that you've drawn. And then, very important, just draw a circle in the middle like that. Any idea what it is yet? No, I'm not going to tell you yet. Then, this might reveal it, just draw gold lines down the edge of all the red, like that. So all the red that you've done, just go around it in gold. And when you've finished it, you'll have something that looks just like that. Yes, you've guessed it. It's a bow. Now, I want to make my bow look real, and I want it to stand out from the paper. So just watch this. This is a good little tip. There's an L shape that I've drawn, and to make that look 3D and stand out from the paper, I'm just going to draw a black line with a thick black felt tip pen down the left-hand side, and also down the bottom edge. And there, it makes it look 3D, as if it's got a shadow behind it, and it's standing out from the paper. Now, we need to do this with the bow. So just bring that back in, and looking for all the left hand and bottom edges on the bow, give it a shadow. So there's a left-hand edge, going all the way down there. And here's a bottom edge. Again, go all the way across. Now, you can take a bit more time over this. I'm just doing it quickly to show you. And then when you get to the bow, again, looking for the left hand and the bottom edges, and draw in your shadow. And even draw a shadow on the middle. Left-hand edge, bottom edge. And then when you've done that, take your red felt tip pen again and draw a rectangle in this bottom right-hand section, and go around that in gold, all the way around, and then decorate the red line in the same way that you decorated the bow. Give it a shadow, so left-hand edge and the bottom edge. And then with a thin felt tip pen, write on it a message. Draw a little circle and some string to the middle. Watch that. And there you have some do-it-yourself gift wrapping, complete with a gift tag. And what do you use it for? You use it for wrapping up your presents. Try it yourself. Very easy to do, looks incredibly stylish, and just think of all the money you're saving. So there you are. That's all for this video. But hold on. Whoa, look at this lot. Do look out for the other videos in the series, won't you? So So I hope I've given you enough ideas to prepare for every party you're going to go to with complete confidence, whether you're holding one yourself or going to someone else's. And remember, the key to a good party is preparation. And hopefully, with some of those ideas, and of course some of your own, you too can become a real party animal. Ta-ra.